I'm Jay.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities of Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Today, it's the end of the year. Well, it's actually past the end of the year. It's early 2013. And at the end of every year, we always find that there is a lull in album releases. For whatever reason, bands don't like to release albums around Christmas time. I think that's because they don't want to have to kick off a tour during the holidays and winter time. Strategic decision, probably a good one. So, for us music reviewers, we have to find other things to create content. So one of the things we like to do is we get tons of great requests all year long from you guys, and in all honesty, you know, we like to use them as filler throughout the year for when we want just another album where it would fit in really well with what we're doing. But in all honesty, I mean, they bottle up, and then the end of the year comes, and it's the perfect opportunity to do some requests. So a lot of throwbacks in the next few reviews that we're going to do, and tonight we're going to review Jeff Buckley's Grace from 1994, the only album he ever officially released. He actually recorded a second one before his untimely death when he was taking a swim in a river, wasn't it, in New York City, something like that?
I think so.
He liked to swim, fully clothed, and he drowned. And then no drugs, nothing like that, just the guy sadly drowned.
Which is really a shame, because think about all the great music he could have put out since then. This is too young, Jeff Buckley.
So when you look at Grace, which is a debut album, really of all debut albums, what sets this album apart, and I'm going to let Tom rant on this, is that Jeff Buckley is just a really talented artist, musician, vocalist, lyricist, I mean, you name it. He's just really talented at all these things.
He's the real deal. He's the full package.
He actually is. And when you listen to this, I hear a lot of just classic rock influences here, specifically a ton of Led Zeppelin, especially like Houses of the Holy era Led Zeppelin, especially in like the guitar. You hear a lot of Freddie Mercury in Buckley's vocals. You know, he has a very fanatic, passionate voice that really sells the music. And then he isn't scared to play with his song structures. And really, this album runs the gamut when it comes to both mood and, you know, kind of sonic disposition. There's all sorts of different songs. You have tracks like Eternal Life that are really, really, you know, more heavier tracks. And then the cover Lilac Wine is actually a softer, kind of more brooding track.
You can tell that he was very restless in terms of what styles and what moods he wanted to tackle.
Absolutely.
He wanted to do it all. And I think that he could have, because we get a little bit of a taste of all of that on Grace, and then it's just, oh, he died too early. Damn it! Why? But really, I mean, I completely agree with everything Jake said. Stylistically, you know, he's got a lot of that clean, kind of finger-picked guitar sound. But then, you know, there's also just some balls-out rock stuff on here, like Eternal Life. That's one track I know you and I both really liked. And that's the thing that really got me about this album. A few listens in, I had heard this album before, and it was one that I always enjoyed, but I never really came back to it too enthusiastically. It never really grabbed my attention until now we decided to review it. Always makes me listen to it with kind of a different mindset. And the thing that it just clicked with me is that, you know, this is just a rock album. I mean, he definitely makes it his own in some ways, but when you listen to it, there's no gimmicks, there's no BS. I think that's what makes it so remarkable. It's almost so remarkable because it's not that remarkable. There's nothing like, you know, if you look at like best of lists, it's usually like albums that really changed a genre or created a new genre. This doesn't really do that. It just takes kind of a standard rock idea, standard rock sound and style, and just completely consistently amazing songwriting, a performance that you can't help but get behind from Buckley's vocals and from the instrumentals, songwriting that is engaging, diverse, dynamic, emotional, and you package all that together, and it's also, on top of that, got this sound that is so confident and so deliberate, but also effortless. Nothing sounds forced. Everything sounds so real. And so it all comes together, and it's the full package deal. I really, really like this album.
And to touch on, you know, you said that this didn't really change music. I would, you know, add on to that. That really what this does, Jeff Buckley, through Grace, has really set the bar for future artists.
I totally agree.
And because he nailed every single category that we analyze when we're reviewing albums. I mean, you look at the level of quality songwriting, the actual structures of the song, the actual chord progressions that he used, his vocals. I swear to God, this is like some of the best vocal presentation I've ever heard in my life. This guy can sing, he knows it, and he's completely natural. Just gets out there, pours his heart out, and it completely sells the whole album. It's what gives Grace its energy. It's Grace, really.
Yeah.
And I love that because I've heard, you know, the first artist that came to mind, two artists in particular, that I can tell are drawing serious influence off this album are Grizzly Bear and the Antlers. And both, you know, have achieved great indie success doing the same things that Jeff Buckley did on this album. It's just that, you know, obviously this is more composed of a rock album, and it was decades earlier. So it's something that just blew me away. The other thing, I gotta say, the cover of Leonard Cohen's Alleluia is one of the most bone-chilling, passionate, beautiful songs I've ever heard. And I absolutely love when an artist can take another artist's song and make it his own through a cover. I hear way too many times cover songs that sound exactly like the original, and it's great to pay tribute and homage, that's great, but I like it when it's reinvented, and man, does Jeff Buckley do that.
And it's interesting because he was more playing off the style of the cover that John Cale had done previously, but what's interesting is that John Cale did it on piano, and then Jeff Buckley really puts a lot of emphasis on the guitar here, just guitar and vocals, but the guitar still moves a lot. Yeah, it's a phenomenal cover, and a lot of people arguably say that it's, you know, much better than the original or John Cale's version, and I wouldn't blame them for thinking that. It's a damn good song, damn good rendition.
You know, I really don't have much to say about this. This is just, I mean, I had heard this album several times before, but, you know, as Tom said, you know, when we put these albums on our review list, we really just dig into them. We just analyze every single facet of the sound to make sure that we have a thorough understanding of what we're talking with you guys about. So it was really a privilege and an honor to be able to go through this because, like I said, I mean, it was very clear in going through with the critical mind how much of an impact this has on modern day, really indie rock, but all music. I'm going 95 on this.
I'm going 94. Year it came out.
Yeah. And keep in mind, guys, for any throwback, we have to take out the historical context because there's no real way to judge that. Just music alone. You know, obviously with historical context applied, this is, you know, one of the... Oh, it's on every best albums of all time list. So it's a best album of all time. You should definitely check this out because it's not one of the more well-known best albums of all time. It's something that's kind of a one-off, but it's definitely worth your time, so check it out. What is your favorite cover that you've ever heard and why?
That's a good question.
It is because I can only think of two, this one and then Jimi Hendrix's cover of Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower, where it's the only time I would actually say the cover was itself better than the original. And even, you know, Bob Dylan actually admitted that. I mean, Leonard Cohen, I don't know if he ever admitted that this is the best cover of all time.
I'm not sure.
But what do you guys think is the best cover of all time? What do you think of Grace? Let us know at www.velocitiesinmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesinmusic. As always, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. That's where we get wonderful requests for album reviews like this that we like to honor as much as we can. So thank you guys for requesting Grace. We had a number of requests for it, and obviously it's come to fruition now. Thank you very much for participating. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.
Man, it sounds to me just like a prison for the world.